Hey, it's Nikki Thompson, and you're listening to Tea with Nikki, embracing your sexual energy. And today I am really excited to do this little episode. I wanted to do something a little bit different, but to really honor where I am right now, because that is what I'm all about, sharing with you as openly and as authentically as possible. So when I decided to do this podcast, things have been a little bit up and down. But what I realized is that we have been so obsessed with always being happy, having the happy life, having, if you're feeling a bit sad, we need to be happy. And so for me, this podcast episode is all about walking with both happiness and sadness, the good and the bad. And I feel as though this message will probably be needed to be heard by quite a few of you listening, because for me, it was a big revelation. I remember this, a coach of mine mentioned this many months ago, and I thought, oh my God, that really struck me, because my whole life I was told to be happy, smile, put on a brave face. And there was like this unconscious messaging that we just needed to, put on a brave face, put on a mask and show that we're coping. Otherwise, it's difficult for other people to cope with those emotions. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Before I get into the rest of the episode, I just wanted to let you know, if you've been listening for a little while, I have a number of online programs. So these programs run for 3 days, and there's two different programs. I have the Vibe program, which is all about how to plan your life, if you have a business as well, how to plan by incorporating the feminine and the masculine. And I do that by looking at how do we feel, how are we feeling when we're setting goals, how do we want to feel, all of these types of things, rather than just the very masculine way of to-do lists and goals and strategies and SMART goals and all that kind of stuff. So that is the Vibe program. If you would like to get a link to any of these, just send me a message or an email, nikki@nikkithompson.com. The second program, which is actually starting today and it's live, but you can buy both of these recorded programs. Today's program is the Pleasure program. And the Pleasure program is helping you switch your default setting to pleasure. Rather than stress and anxiety and overwhelm and all of those things, we're switching it to pleasure so that we can be more fun again. And it's about understanding the yin and the yang, the giving and the receiving of pleasure, and how that impacts people, and why when we don't accept pleasure in terms of gifts or compliments or offers of help and support, how that actually makes the other person feel as well. So then both of us are feeling like crap. And how do we shift our default setting to be able to receive pleasure? Quite often women get to a point in their relationships or in their friendships or with their parents or whatever it is, these different kinds of relationships, where they're like, oh my God, they just don't help anymore. And quite often it comes from a point where we have rejected that offer of help or that pleasure in whatever way, compliments, gifts, whatever it is. And then we continue to reject it, and then we wonder why they stop offering. So the Pleasure program is all about how to open us up to both of those, giving and receiving more pleasure. And then we've got the Vibe program. So if you would like to get access to those, they're $111 each. Or if you would like both of them, just send me a message and I will send you the link to those. I love these programs. These programs have really shifted a lot, especially for the women who've gone through, especially the Vibe program. The Pleasure program is starting today. So that is, I'm very excited to be running that. So if you would like access, just send me a message and I will organize that for you. So now when we talk about dancing with the good and the bad, the happy, the sad, the yin and the yang of life, for me, I need to give myself more of a break. I sometimes feel as though I just need to be happy all of the time. And if I'm not happy all of the time, there's something wrong with me. And if I'm not happy in a relationship, either a romantic relationship or in a friendship, or even talking to my dad, I feel as though they can't handle that emotion, and so I need to put on this happy mask. And for me, a few years ago, when my marriage fell apart a bit, everyone was really shocked. And I think it kind of made me realize just how much of a mask I'd been wearing for so many years, because I'd never let anyone see or help or try and support me, because I thought that it would be too difficult for them to handle those emotions. Now, for me, this has really come from childhood, and my parents did such an amazing job. I had a beautiful childhood. But one of the things I realized is that most people aren't great at their emotional intelligence. And so I didn't really see that as a role model of sharing openly your emotions, supporting openly someone crying, and all of those types of things in such a positive and beautiful way. It was often, if someone was crying, it's like, oh, here's some food. That was generally, it was such a big thing in my family, and I still see that now. I remember one of my most beautiful memories of my mum was if I was sick and she was picking me up from school, she would buy me this custard tart on the way home. And I always remember thinking, oh my God, that's so cool. And it was so delicious. And I relate food now to dealing with emotions, and not just because of that one example, but just in general, food was always offered if someone was sad. And so I definitely am absolutely an emotional eater, and that's something I will continue to work on, but it feels good when you're eating, and so the emotions go away. And so it's about dealing with the emotions rather than just feeling as though you have to be happy all the time or it's bad to be sad. For me, it's about moving through and processing those emotions. And what that looks like for me is definitely a lot of crying. I definitely feel things a lot more now. I actually am so much more open to feeling. And it's a bit of a roller coaster, I'm not going to lie. Like, there'll be days when I'm feeling freaking amazing and we'll be jumping around and dancing and laughing and shopping and having a great time. And there'll be days I'm just like literally fetal position, in the shower on the floor crying. And I much prefer this way of life than just being kind of living like this numb existence of just trying to wear a mask and unable to deal with emotions. Because then when you feel as though you need to be looking happy all the time, for me, I then became very numb because I wasn't happy, but I didn't know how to feel the sadness. I didn't know how to feel and process through those emotions. So other ways that I now process through emotions is a lot of journaling, meditation. I love to talk, as you can probably tell, and I actually do audio journaling. So I put my headphones on, I get my phone, and I get an app out on my phone, and I just record like an audio little clip. And I rarely go back and listen to them, but just the whole talking through the emotion, the thoughts, and all of that kind of thing really, really helped me. Other things that help me is walking, like moving my body, because when I'm feeling really sad, just moving physically moves the emotions through your body, but it also helps to clear my mind, and not to turn me into happy, but it's to help me process what's going on and help me understand that, fuck, I'm strong. Okay, this is a really shit situation, but I know I'm going to get through it. I know I'm going to get through it. Let's just feel it. Let's just feel like shit for a little bit, and then we're going to get through it, because we always get through it. I've always gotten through every single shit situation in my life because I'm right here, right now. And so processing emotions can help us move away from feeling really numb. Now, for me, I love talking about sexual energy, orgasms, and all of that kind of fun stuff. And I do feel as though for me, being in touch with my sexual side helps me deal with the emotions. So being in touch with that feminine feeling, I've really opened that up over the past 4 years or so. But I now allow myself to feel. I now allow myself to be in that space and be okay with it. There's not this expectation now that I have to be stronger and smile all of the time. And so I feel as though that intuition, gut, sexual energy side of me has really allowed me to open up to this new space of feeling. So it's a very feminine space. And, you know, when I talk about the feminine masculine, which I'm going to be talking more about next week, really identifying and kind of being more specific about the feminine masculine energies. But the feeling is very feminine. And both men and women have feminine and masculine energies. But for me, I kept swinging so much into the masculine and just really suppressing that feminine side of me that I didn't know how to really feel all of the emotions. I didn't know how to deal with that. And, you know, I remember so many times I do a lot of personal development I read a lot of books, courses, programs, all those types of things. I love it. I love learning how to be a better human. And one of the things they would always say is like, you need to work through these negative blocks, these limiting beliefs, and, you know, and then just process through them. And I would be listening to it or reading it and being like, what the fuck does that even mean? How do you move through an emotion? And this was because I felt so numb. I didn't know how to move through emotion. I thought if I just journaled it out, it'd be all sorted. You know, I actually was proud of myself that I didn't really cry that much. I remember a significant moment at my mum's funeral when my sister and I were so adamant not to cry at her funeral because we both knew that if we started, we were not going to stop, because it was like opening this floodgate for both of us, like trying to deal with emotions. And we were young, but we kept saying to each other, there's no crying in baseball, which is from In a League of Their Own. It's like an old movie that we love. And we would just say that to each other so that we wouldn't cry. And I realize now, looking back, so my mum passed away over 12 years ago. I still hadn't dealt with her emotion, like her passing. I still hadn't dealt with the grief, probably until the past year, I would say. And that was because I kept busy. As soon as mum passed away, I got married. I had children straight away. I've had 3 children. I've just kept super busy and kept this beautiful, happy, smiling mask on. And it has been over the past year that I've really, really felt the grief. And I'm feeling better about that. I feel really proud of myself that I can cry, that I can deal with emotions, that I'm no longer numb, that I do get shocked by sadness. I do get shocked by shitty things that are happening in the world, and I'm not numb to all of that. So if you have been in a space where dealing with sadness has been difficult for you, or you feel as though you need to be happy all of the time to fit in society, then I really do urge you to start thinking about how can you process through these emotions. And if you do want any help or support, just send me a message. I'm more than happy to help you myself or guide you to the right resources. But this is such an important part, and it really is part of embracing our sexual energy, which is our feminine side. We need to be able to step into both the feelings and both feelings of the happiness, the sadness. And when we do that, our life, we start to experience a depth of life that we didn't experience before. So yeah, that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I do hope you have the most epic week. My sister and I are off to Gwingana Health Retreat. Oh my God. At the end of the week, which is going to be incredible. So I hope you have the most epic week, And next Monday, I'm going to be talking all about the masculine, feminine energies. And if you would like to join any of my programs, just send me a message and I can guide you into the right one, or I can give you some support. We also have a mastermind that's running, and we are opening that back up in November. So if you would like to join in November, let me know, and I hope you have an amazing week. Bye.